What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. A big thanks to Underdog for sponsoring today's video, and a big thanks to all of you guys for liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell, as I do post new Warriors videos daily, and it does help the channel continue to grow as the season moves along. Now, tonight's game against the Kings is literally the best thing a Warriors fan could ask for, and the best thing the Warriors could ask for to be game 2 of this 8-game homestand, because the Kings are a team that's living like it's they're still living in January, February of 2025, and still dealing with the after effects of trading De'Aaron Fox and firing Mike Brown, because they have not been the same team since. And that to replace Mike Brown, they chose Doug Christie, who was a first-time coach, but it hasn't worked out so far, and they haven't even touched double-digit wins. They've been stuck at 8 for a while now, and I think this is the perfect opportunity for the Warriors to really build momentum and go off on this Kings team. Now, we all thought this Kings team was going to be great. We thought, okay, they have a great starting lineup. They have Sabonis, they have Keegan Murray, they have DeMar DeRozan, they have Zach LaVine, they signed Dennis Schroeder and are platooning him with Russell Westbrook. They have Malik Monk as that three-point spark coming off the bench. They have all the right guys, yet all they are in pieces. The pieces just don't fit together, and while it's been disappointing, it's a benefit to the Warriors because they need to do well on this homestand. Now, as it stands, they are 11 back of first place, and let's be honest, they're not going to be a first place team, but they're only, I believe it's 5 games back of the 4 seed Timberwolves. Now, that's something to really be interested in. Because if they do well, like they go on to say 7-1 in this homestand and take advantage of their first game on the road after this homestand against the Mavericks, they have a real opportunity to leapfrog a lot of these guys in the standings. Now, looking at it, the next guy up is the Suns, who are I want to say 2.5 ahead of the Warriors. So there is a lot that can be done, and if they find a way to, what would be even funnier is if they find a way to leapfrog Houston, who hasn't been playing their best, surprisingly. I thought they'd be a top 3 team, yet they're teetering on the play-in. So this homestand is a perfect opportunity to build that momentum, start a very big win streak, and then leapfrog a couple of the teams in the standings. Because looking at who they're playing in this homestand after tonight's game in Sacramento, they're playing the Hawks on Sunday, then the Trailblazers, who've had their number all season, so perfect opportunity to get revenge on Tuesday, and then they play the Knicks on Thursday, then the Hornets on next Saturday, the Heat on Monday, so another day's rest, and then the Raptors on Tuesday before heading to Dallas to play the Mavericks. But building momentum is going to be essential for the game against the Heat as well as the Raptors, because those are 2 very dangerous teams to go along with the Trailblazers and the Knicks. So you've got a lot of teams that know how to play legitimate basketball, and if you're going to beat teams like that, you have to win these winnable games, like the Sacramento game, like the Hawks game, like the Hornets game, like the Trailblazers game, to build momentum and win those tougher games against the teams like the Heat, like the Raptors, like the Knicks, so you can leapfrog a lot of teams in the standings. Now, outside of the Kings game and building momentum, we did hear something interesting around the league regarding Giannis, and that is specifically his recommitment to staying with the Bucks. And I understand his desire to stay with one team his entire career. There's a lot of loyalty, and there are guys to inspire him. But looking back, let's say the last 35 years, excluding Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, and let's just say pretty much all those guys on the Celtics, like Kevin McHale included, only 3 guys have stayed with their like superstar level on the same level as Giannis have stayed with their team, like the same team their entire career. And those guys are Kobe Bryant, uh, David Robertson, Tim Duncan, and then that's it. And there's a big differential with the guys who did that and what Giannis wants to do. Like with Tim Duncan and David Robertson, look, they had the best scout team in the entire NBA. They had the best coach in the NBA They had the best coach in the NBA in Greg Popovich. And for Kobe, they legit had everybody wants to play in LA. So it's easy to do things like that when you have like certain things around you that make it easier to build. Whereas with in Milwaukee, they're not in a position where they can be like taking players from here, taking players from there. And at a certain point, you have to acknowledge that you're in a toxic relationship and have to do something about it. Because if you don't do something about it, it's only going to get worse. And I think the ones who are going to realize, hey, we're in a toxic relationship first, are going to be the Bucks, because they have an opportunity to like really build out and continue to stay competitive while getting some legitimate resources for Giannis. I mean, like I said, they can get Jonathan Kuminga. They can get 3 unprotected first-round picks. They can get Pods. They can get Draymond Green's expiring contract, and then move guys like Kuzma to his more natural 4 position and still remain competitive, because he can be a stretch and allow Miles Turner to be that man in the middle. Because one of the things I don't think has been working for the Bucks is the fact that there is a spacing issue between Miles Turner and Giannis. Both of those guys, they can try to shoot threes, but they aren't stretch bigs, and in the end, that's going to be a problem. Now, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more, and getting your picks right could win you up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, I'm looking at the Warriors-Kings game, specifically at Jimmy Butler to go higher than his projected 20.5 points, and Russell Westbrook to go higher on his projected 6.5 rebounds. Download the app today and use promo code BASKETBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BASKETBALLFAN. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Now, since we're on the topic of Underdog, I want to introduce a new segment to the show, and that's higher and lowers for players in today's game. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about Steph Curry. Now, when it comes to Steph, he has been a pretty solid scoring rampage over these last few games, having dropped 30 twice in these last 5 games, and overall he's just been a scoring monster, having multiple 40-point games so far this season to take the record of most 40-point games for a guy over 30. Now for Steph, his projected 28.5 points, thinking about it based off of what he's done these last few games and his overall last 10 games, I'm definitely gonna go with higher. Now, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists, that's a little bit of a tough one, because looking at Steph's numbers, he hasn't gotten a lot of rebounds. He's been sort of inconsistent, and he hasn't gotten the most assists because he is the Warriors' primary scorer. But these last 10 games, he's been pretty solid. What does he hit? He's had 7 assists, 6 assists, 5 assists, 4 assists, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 2 rebounds, 2 rebounds, and 2 rebounds. So thinking about that and then going together with the higher than the projected 28.5 points, I'm going to have to go with higher on this one as well. Now, when it comes to rebounds, that's a bit of a tougher one, because Steph is going to be that primary scorer in this game. And thinking about it is just, It's a tough one because he had such a great game in the rebounding column versus Milwaukee, but like in this game versus the Kings, and what makes Steph magical is the fact that he takes shots, doesn't look at it go in, it goes in, and then he's already back on defense. So for his projected 4.5 rebounds, it's a tough one, but I'm going to have to go with lower. Now, when it comes to his three-pointers made, let's be honest. We know what he's going to do. He is going to hit. He is going to get the job done, and he's just going to fire him off from three. The issue is his last few games, he's sort of been a little inconsistent when it comes to his three-point shooting. I mean, he's looking at it. Where is it? He's hit 5 the last 2 games, then 4, then 2, then 4, then 4, then 2, then 12, and then 6. So it's been pretty inconsistent. But when it comes to 4.5 three points made, you know what? I'm going to have to go with higher. Now, that's all we have for our hires and lowers today. Thanks again to Underdog for promoting this little new segment that I love to do. And don't forget, guys, use promo code BasketballFan when signing up. Now, back to Sacramento. The Kuminga's trade talks can start like immediately when it comes to this whole Kings game, because the Kings have been interested in Kuminga and they want to make him a part of the team. So don't be surprised that Kuminga is going to get discussed during this game. There's going to be a lot of FaceTime, and you know what? This is going to be the start of Plan B discussions, sending him potentially to Sacramento to get Domantas Sabonis and maybe some additional picks as well. But I like the fact that they're going to be able to do this, get some FaceTime, and at least really gauge the value of what Kuminga is worth around the league, because the Kings were the team that valued him the most in the offseason, and it's going to be interesting to see how they value him now. Now, bottom line is, again, the Dubs need to capitalize on this homestand, or they are totally just going to be done. Like they can't compete, because they need to, if they don't do better than like 500 in this homestand, it's going to be tough to play catch up even after the trade deadline when they are making these big moves. So I see them doing well in this whole homestand. I see players really showing out and helping the Dubs decide who can be traded and who can't, and who is going to be a vital part of this team moving forward. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, thanks to Underdog for sponsoring today's video, and thanks to all of you guys for liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. And if you have any ideas on some trades the Warriors should look at when it comes to the Kings and Jonathan Kuminga, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.